I will now like to request Dr. Suresh Attili to give us his expert medical presentation. Renowned physician Dr. Suresh Attili is an MD internal medicine and has been working on hematology and oncology research. He is currently working as a consultant medical oncologist and hematologist at Apollo Hospital, India. He has been a regular reviewer for well-known publications like the American Journal of Clinical Oncology, British Journal of Hematology, and Leukemia Research, just to name a few of them. He is also a principal investigator for various international clinical trials and has performed the first principal investigator for the haploidentical allogenic stem cell transplantation in Andhra Pradesh. We thank him again for having come here today, and now I will request him to kindly present his speech.
Thanks, Niti. It's going to be almost 45 minutes of marathon that I'm going to take in. So, I'm audible. I think it's a small. So, yes. No. So if I'm clearly audible, I would like to just operate from here. Slowly. Yeah. Right. I think, yeah. I'm good. Like so. Can you switch off that light, please? So that they can see better. So what I'm going to say is about the molecular basis. When I say molecular basis, it is important to understand at a microscopic level for each and everything that happens. So unless there is scientific evidence that backs up your statement, no one will believe in the medicine. So I will try to be as brief as possible during my presentation, but please stop me if I am going too much into the medical language and then confuse you people. Right? So in this presentation, what I am going to do is, why are we discussing this today? Is the first thing I want to convey to you. Just to have more awareness, not to conclude anything to you. My next 30 minutes is to give more information so that you will be able to ask more questions back to me. Right? So I don't want to hear any hearsay from you people. I want to ask very scientific questions at the end of the session. Number 2 is, what is this popular word EMF? The job is already completed by Ramachandran sir. So I will not spend any time on that. What is a biologist like me? I don't want to call myself as a doctor. I'm a biologist and then a doctor. In-depth review of the vast literature of 25,000 odd studies I'm going to give you in the next 6 or 7 minutes. And I'm sure you will be able to do it. And what are the precautions to be taken to use this EMF? It is like a knife. It helps and it hurts if you don't use it properly. Right? So, I want every one of you to pay extra attention to this. These are the common 7 things that confuse people. The number 1 is cell phone versus cell tower. There is a lot of difference between these 2 things. Cell phone is different, cell tower is different. Radiation versus EMF, they are different. Biological effect and health hazard, they are different. They are not one and the same. Association versus causation, they are different. Safe limits versus safety standards, they are different. Evidence versus literature, thoughts versus proofs. So, whenever I say these things, kindly pay attention to the key words that I'm going to use during this presentation. Because people try to confuse you to convince their ideas as your ideas by using these words interchangeably, but you can't change these words interchangeably. Right? So, this is a brief pictorial presentation in 1994 when I was joining Benares in the university as MBBS first year student. I used to call my home once in a week, that too having a prayer appointment from a tenant. And there used to be only one phone in the street. I'm sure that majority of you people must have experienced it, right? So there used to be only one phone in the entire street, and you need to go there, sit at 7:30 sharp, whatever calls comes, some sort of. It used to be that way. About 10 houses there used to be one phone. In 2004, there is a big revolution happened by the some of the key governmental decisions. Each house is having a telephone. Now, each house is having 4 telephones, assuming that household person that is there. घर का जो याद में बोलते हैं ना, he will be having one office phone, one personal phone, wife having 2 phones, kids having multiple number of phones. One is known at home, another is unknown. Right? So, this is what is the electromagnetic field. I don't want to bore you by repeating it, but what I want to say is the cell phones fall in this shape. This is what I want to say. Right? I can see at least 20% of the people are 40 plus in this group. In the next 5 to 10 years, majority of you people, by virtue of working, sitting in the chairs, will have some neck problems and spondylitis. And when you go to your doctor, what they say is, okay, come to my physiotherapy clinic. I will put you some infrared rays so that you will feel better. That's a very fact. A very little heating of the body tissue will help to relax it. And this heat is a conversion of a light. When you put an infrared light on your neck, it gets converted into a mild form of heat. And that mild heat is going to dilate the blood vessels. Once the blood vessels get dilated, there is an increased blood flow so that all the strain, the chemicals accumulated because of the strain will be washed out of it and you feel better. Same thing is used in olden days. जो गर्म पानी से कपड़े भी करते थे ना, very poor. I forgot Hindi almost 12 years since now. और जो सिकाई करते हैं ना, so probably because of that, people used to have betterment because the heat is going to dilate the blood vessels. If you see, it is 1/100 of it. So the cell phones can't even dilate a blood vessel. If I use any instrument or a tool which is 100 times more powerful than, which is the current cell phone, then hardly it can dilate a blood vessel. So that's what actually I want you to emphasize on these things. And whenever we say radiation, typically we mean ultraviolet, X-rays and gamma rays, which we refer to as radiation, which we treat in my treatment, that is cancer treatment. They kill the cancer cells. But if you look at the energy of this thing it is 1/1 lakh crores less than what we use for the treatment. So nowhere close to it. So in all the forums I strictly urge to separate the words radiation and electromagnetic field. With all due respect to Ramachandran sir, I say that when you use the word radiation, you are going to trigger wrong part of your brain, thinking that it is going to harm. So let's separate these words. Physically you are right, sir, but when you linguistically see it, it is better to use the word electromagnetic field, which gives a sense of satisfaction and soothing to me that it is 1/1 lakh crores less effective, 1 trillion times less effective than the typical ionizing radiation that can kill. This is exactly what Ramachandran sir told, that we started 4.5 billion years ago. Bacteria, early man, early electrification, and the current scenario. So the question is, ultimate question. It comes to the question of the safety norms that we want. Right? Have you seen UV rays being used? We very frequently use in our hospitals to sterilize the water, to sterilize the food. You put it in the small UV cabinet, ultraviolet cabinet, 3 minutes, all the bacteria. So, going back to the basics of the physics, UV is ultraviolet. That is having a energy more than violet. that can potentially ionize and kill bacteria. And when you speak about the mobiles, they are infrared ka bhi niche. So having less energy than the red radiation and these things. Right? So we, in the next few things, we look at this standards, INCR guidelines. I will not repeat it. Okay? So, as I told you, cell phone is different and cell tower is different. Why cell phone is different is because it is few centimeters away from your body to few millimeters based upon the type of use, whereas cell tower is few meters away from your body. They are entirely different entities. How many of you people know what is the meaning of SAR? Right. If you don't know, I urge you to take your cell phones and then just press what I say. Star #07#. Take your phones, smartphones, other than iPhone, and then type star #07#. Can you do that for me? And tell me what is the value that you are seeing on your screen? Star #07# दबाने के बाद आपको स्क्रीन के एक नंबर आएगा. वो नंबर is important for me. I'm just going to spend my next few minutes on that number. How many of you people have got a number more than 2 on your cell phones? No one. More than 1? किया किसी ने? Star #07# करके just press call button. You'll have that number with you. Got it? 1.6. Anyone having more than 1.5 in the audience?
Once again, what that?
Star #07#. Smartphone में दबाइएगा. It doesn't cost you anything. Okay? 0.7. Any other values? 0.5. Next. 0.2. Wonderful. Next. 0.5. So there are two things that you will be seeing. SCR for the head and SCR for the body. Right? Head is more sensitive than the rest of the body. So any value of less than 1 is absolutely safe. Any value of less than 1 is absolutely safe. That means the amount of energy that this cell phone can transfer over a given area to your body that can potentially damage is negligible. हिंदी में एक बार I will try to explain if you can understand my Hindi. जो सेल फोन से जो एनर्जी आती है वो जो बॉडी को ट्रांसमिट कर पाती है, अगर वो 1 से कम है तो वो आपको कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा सकता जब तक आप 15 मिनट के अंदर उसको बात करते हैं. तो when you speak for less than 15 minutes, a value of less than 1 should not harm. And if your cell phone is more than 2, it is a time that you throw it out. Because cell phone is not more important than your health. Right? If the value is between 1 and 2, you need to have caution. Right? So those having iPhones, it is available on the iPhone net. So this is what is typically that bothers me whenever the patient comes to my clinic and then says, "Sir, मैं cell phone use कर रहा हूँ, इसी की वजह से brain cancer आया क्या?" But probably the most vulnerable people are the doctors because we attend more than 6 to 7 hours, and the next commonest defaulters are going to be administrative people. So these are the two people who attend the cell phones or misuse the cell phones. So if we are not getting brain cancers, patients cannot get it. Right? So this is exactly what has actually threatened the world. This is a very, very scientifically conducted study. What to say is, if you are having a value of 4.49 watt per kg, the cell phone can damage your brain. If it is 3.2, it is less. If it is 2.9, it is even less. Probably those who are from the physics background can understand that the graph falls like this. If it is less than 2, it can't even touch it. So, what is the meaning of it? It means that people want to terrify you, stating that the mobile phone can damage your brain. But they are comfortably ignoring the fact that none of the phones we use have a SAR value of more than 2. If you design a phone with a SAR value of 5, yes, if you speak for 15 minutes, it can damage your brain. Especially the kid is less than 5 years old. We are all adults, so we are safe. In other words, I am yet to see a cell phone in the commonly available in the market that is having a SAR value of more than 2, so that can potentially cause a brain damage. That is medically impossible. Hope you understand the difference between a cell phone, cell tower and SAR value. Am I clear? Right? So, don't worry about it. If your cell phone is having a SAR of less than 2, if it is not available on your cell phones, what you do is kindly go to the internet. SAR is a mandate. If you are buying a new phone, if there is no SAR printed on the cover of the cell phone, then please don't buy it, because they are not following the safety norms. Right? Cell tower is 1 by 1000 of what you can expect. So I don't want to discuss anything about the cell towers, because SAR is 3 decimals away from this. That is 0.0002. If I have to say something about SAR of a cell tower.